Can Niger truly break free from the West's influence? Niger has repeatedly pushed back against Western interference, yet the West persists in meddling in African affairs through various means.
The United States has also said U.S. President Joe Biden's administration is committed to a diplomatic resolution and said Niger was a partner it did not want to lose.
Continue to work with ECOWAS, with the African Union, with other partners around the world, as well as regional partners, to get this situation back on track and to maintain Niger's hard-earned democracy.
Niger's military-installed Prime Minister Lamine Zen said, and I quote, "We are in a process of transition. We have explained the ins and outs, reiterated our willingness to remain open and to talk to all parties. But we have insisted on the need for the country to be independent," end of quote. A Kremlin statement said the conversation between the two leaders focused on the need to settle the situation in Niger through peaceful political and diplomatic means.
However, Niger has now taken a bold step by launching the first Russian-Niger Cultural Center, which could bring significant changes. But will these efforts be enough to keep the West away? And what could this mean for the future of Africa? Let's find out. In a world where Africa is often portrayed as a passive recipient of foreign influence, Niger has taken a bold step that flips the script and challenges the status quo. Recently, Niamey, the capital of Niger, witnessed the opening of the first Niger-Russia Cultural Space, an initiative by the NGO Niger-Russia Together Hand in Hand. This event, featuring an array of cultural exchanges, symbolizes more than just a diplomatic gesture. It marks a significant moment in Niger's pursuit of a new kind of international partnership. So, is the Niger-Russia Cultural Space just a symbolic gesture, or does it signify a deeper shift in Niger's diplomatic strategy?
Thousands of coup supporters took to the streets of the country's capital, waving Russian flags.
For some coup supporters, the anti-French sentiment is being replaced by pro-Russia messaging.
People really are angry with French. Because in their mind, they think that Russian forces can help Niger to better fight terrorism. What happened in Niger is that the President Mohamed Bazoum was overthrown 26th of July by a junta.
Nous, forces de défense et de sécurité, avons décidé de mettre fin au régime que vous connaissez.
During the demonstration, we saw a lot of Russian flags and people asking for Russian forces to come.
Thousands of coup supporters took to the streets of the country's capital, denouncing the former colonial power, France.
The French embassy was attacked the day after the coup. They tried to enter in the embassy, and also they put Russian flag on the wall of the embassy just to say to French that we would like Russia to come here. We prefer Russia to you. This is the message.
On the surface, the Niger-Russia Cultural Space appears to be a straightforward cultural exchange program, celebrating mutual friendship between two nations. Yet this initiative carries a more profound significance. For Niger, this isn't merely about showcasing Russian culture or broadening its cultural horizons. It's a bold statement of sovereignty and a calculated move in its foreign policy playbook. Historically, Niger has been a country facing the complexities of foreign influence and intervention. Like many African nations, it has experienced its fair share of Western engagement, often couched in the language of development aid or military cooperation. However, by opening a cultural space dedicated to Russia, Niger signals a willingness to diversify its diplomatic and artistic engagements. It's a move that says Niger is no longer content with the traditional model of Western-dominated partnerships. Instead, it is carving its path, one that embraces diverse cultural exchanges and geopolitical partnerships. The cultural space in Niamey is more than a venue for dance and music. It is a physical manifestation of Niger's intent to redefine its role in the global arena. Through this initiative, Niger is showing that it is open to building bridges with non-traditional partners, reflecting a broader desire across Africa to forge new alliances. This is not about turning away from the West, but about enriching Niger's global partnerships portfolio and, in turn, gaining greater autonomy and leverage on the world stage. But the question is, could the Niger-Russia cultural space be a harbinger of a new geopolitical era for Africa? Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. The geopolitical implications of the Niger-Russia cultural space extend far beyond the borders of Niger. At a time when the world is increasingly multipolar, with power centers shifting and new alliances forming, Niger's engagement with Russia reflects a broader trend among African nations. Many countries on the continent are actively seeking to diversify their international relationships, reducing dependency on any single bloc of powers, be it the West or the East. Russia's involvement in Africa has been growing steadily in recent years, driven by a desire to reclaim its influence on the global stage. For Niger, this presents an opportunity to leverage Russian interest for its strategic gains. It allows Niger to position itself as a key partner in Russia's African strategy, which aims to expand its footprint on the continent through economic, military, and cultural engagements. The Niger-Russia cultural space, therefore, is not just about cultural exchange. It is a diplomatic signal that Niger is open to a more diversified array of partnerships. By aligning with Russia, Niger gains access to new avenues of support, both in terms of security and development. Russia, on the other hand, sees an opportunity to gain a foothold in a region traditionally dominated by Western influence. This partnership could lead to increased Russian investment in Niger's infrastructure, technology, and natural resources, which could be a game changer for Niger's development. However, the geopolitics are complex. While this move may strengthen Niger's hand, it also risks provoking tensions with traditional Western allies who may view Russia's growing presence in Africa with suspicion. So, one must ask, will the integration of Russian culture into Nigerian society strengthen national unity, or could it create new divisions? Introducing a foreign cultural element into any society comes with its own set of challenges and opportunities. In Niger, a country with a rich culture from diverse ethnic and religious traditions, the introduction of Russian culture could be seen in multiple lights. For some, it represents an exciting opportunity to learn about a distant and unfamiliar culture, thereby broadening horizons and fostering a sense of global citizenship. The sight of Nigerian artists clad in Russian national costumes, performing traditional Russian dances, is both symbolic and powerful. It shows a willingness to engage with the world beyond familiar borders and to embrace new cultural expressions. This can foster a spirit of openness and mutual respect, which are essential ingredients in a diverse society like Niger's. Moreover, the exchange of cultural practices, from Russian folk music to Nigerian traditional cuisine, could encourage a deeper understanding between the two peoples, promoting a sense of global interconnectedness. Now the question is Niger's embrace of Russian culture a subtle critique of its traditional alliances or a strategic play to balance power? The Niger-Russia cultural space inevitably raises questions about Niger's diplomatic orientation. Historically, Niger, like many African nations, has maintained close ties with Western powers, relationships often shaped by historical legacies, economic dependencies, and security arrangements. However, the decision to engage more closely with Russia might suggest a recalibration of Niger's foreign policy. This move can be seen as part of a broader strategy of non-alignment, a stance that allows Niger to maintain its independence and avoid being drawn into the geopolitical tug-of-war between major powers. By engaging with Russia, Niger is effectively signaling that it is not beholden to any single bloc. Instead, it is open to building mutually beneficial relationships with a variety of partners, based on respect and reciprocity. This approach provides Niger with greater diplomatic flexibility and bargaining power, enabling it to extract more favorable terms from its interactions with both Western and non-Western partners. However, this diplomatic balancing act is not without its risks. Closer ties with Russia could provoke unease among Niger's traditional Western allies, who may view this as a shift away from established alignments. The West, particularly former colonial powers and their allies, have historically viewed Africa through a lens of strategic interests. Russia's growing influence in Niger and elsewhere in Africa is likely to be viewed with concern in these circles. Yet, Niger's actions could also serve as a wake-up call to the West, reminding them that African nations are no longer passive recipients in the global order, but are actively shaping their destinies. Are we witnessing the dawn of a new era in African diplomacy, where African nations assert their autonomy and diversify their alliances. The establishment of the Niger-Russia cultural space could indeed be a sign of things to come for African diplomacy. For too long, Africa's role in international affairs has been largely shaped by external forces, with decisions often influenced by the economic or security needs of Western powers. However, this is rapidly changing. As African nations like Niger assert their sovereignty, they are beginning to diversify their diplomatic relationships, engaging with a wider range of global partners, from China and India to Turkey and Russia. This shift is not just about avoiding old patterns of dependency. It is about crafting a new narrative for Africa, one where the continent is seen as a proactive player on the global stage. By engaging with a diverse range of partners, African nations are positioning themselves to benefit from a variety of perspectives, technologies, and investments, which can spur development and enhance stability. Moreover, this approach allows African nations to better navigate the complexities of global politics, ensuring they are not overly reliant on any one country or bloc. In many ways, Niger's initiative can be seen as a microcosm of a larger trend across Africa. Countries are increasingly looking beyond traditional Western partners, seeking out new relationships that offer more balanced, equitable, and respectful terms of engagement. This multipolar approach to diplomacy reflects Africa's growing confidence and its desire to be treated as an equal on the global stage. It's a bold, forward-looking strategy that recognizes the realities of the 21st century, where no single power holds all the cards and where collaboration and cooperation are key. As we look to the future, it's important to consider the potential outcomes of this new diplomatic strategy. What could this mean for the balance of power within Africa, and how might it shape the continent's trajectory in the years to come? Niger's embrace of a more diversified diplomatic approach could indeed have ripple effects across the African continent. As one of the more strategically positioned nations in West Africa, Niger's actions are closely watched by its neighbors. If this initiative proves successful, leading to tangible benefits in terms of development, security, or international standing, it could set a precedent for other African nations to follow. Already, we are seeing signs of this shift. From the African Union's call for more representation in global institutions to individual countries forging new partnerships outside of traditional Western spheres, Africa is asserting its agency. The emergence of new diplomatic partnerships, like that between Niger and Russia, challenges the existing power dynamics and forces traditional powers to rethink their approach to Africa. It signals that Africa is no longer a mere recipient of external policies, but an active contributor to global governance. Moreover, this trend could lead to a more united and cohesive Africa, where countries collaborate more closely to achieve shared goals. By diversifying their alliances, African nations could reduce their reliance on external powers and instead focus on strengthening intracontinental ties. This could foster greater economic integration, enhance security cooperation, and promote political stability across the continent. In this way, Niger's actions could be the catalyst for a more balanced and empowered Africa, one that plays a central role in shaping the global future. As we consider the potential shifts within Africa, it's also important to look beyond the continent. How might these developments affect the broader international order? Africa's new diplomatic strategy, as exemplified by Niger's recent moves, has the potential to significantly impact the global order. For too long, Africa has been sidelined in global decision-making processes, with major powers often dictating the terms of engagement. However, as African nations assert their independence and diversify their alliances, they are reshaping the global geopolitical landscape. By engaging with a range of partners, Africa is challenging the status quo and promoting a more multipolar world. This shift could lead to a redistribution of global power, where Africa, Asia, and Latin America play a more prominent role alongside traditional Western powers. Such a redistribution would likely lead to a more balanced global order, one where no single power or bloc can dominate the agenda. Moreover, Africa's assertiveness could encourage other regions to adopt similar strategies, fostering a more inclusive and equitable international system. This would not only benefit Africa, but the world as a whole, promoting peace, stability, and prosperity on a global scale. The emergence of a more diverse set of voices in global governance could help address some of the world's most pressing challenges, from climate change to inequality, more holistically and effectively. As we look ahead, it is clear that Africa's role in the world is changing. But what are the next steps for Niger and its new diplomatic partners? The opening of the Niger-Russia cultural space is just the beginning of what could be a much deeper partnership. To capitalize on this initiative, Niger will need to build on the cultural foundation by expanding into other areas of cooperation, such as economic development, security collaboration, and technological exchange. One potential avenue for further cooperation is through economic investment. Russia has expressed interest in Africa's natural resources and infrastructure projects, which could benefit Niger if negotiated on equitable terms. By engaging with Russia on economic initiatives, Niger could attract much-needed investment to spur development and create jobs. However, it will be crucial for Niger to approach these negotiations with a clear strategy to ensure that any agreements benefit its people and do not result in exploitative practices. Additionally, there is potential for deeper security collaboration. Niger, which faces security challenges related to insurance and instability in the Sahel region, could benefit from Russia's military expertise and resources. However, this must be balanced with a commitment to sovereignty and non-interference, ensuring that any security cooperation respects Niger's autonomy. The opening of the Niger-Russia cultural space marks a significant milestone in Niger's diplomatic journey, and more broadly, in the evolution of African diplomacy. It signals a shift from a past dominated by a few powerful players to a future where African nations assert their sovereignty and diversify their alliances. As Niger embraces this new path, it is setting a precedent for other African nations to follow, one that prioritizes autonomy, respect, and genuine partnership. Africa's future on the global stage looks brighter, more dynamic, and more independent than ever before. And as we watch this story unfold, one thing is clear. The world is about to witness a new era of African diplomacy, one that is unapologetic, bold, and forward-looking. The Niger-Russia cultural space is just the beginning. The stage is set, and Africa is ready to take the lead. Do you think the new partnerships will save Africa from the West? Will it change anything? Let us know in the comments section. What are your hopes for the African future? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If so, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the Black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious Blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.